And it looks like it's going to be that way for the foreseeable future, but it's actually been quite good. We've gotten a lot of people sitting in your houses happily. So it is what it is, and we don't have any big deal items tonight. We're going to go through all of our reports. Do we have any people who are new? I think I see a couple who are new to the organization and neighbors that might have just shown up in the neighborhood and would like to say hello. We usually ask you to just say where you're living, what block, and your names, although we can see your names on this. So I think Chris, and I
Yep.
didn't catch,
We're
introduce
Chris.
yourselves.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're Chris and Jamie Jones. We just moved into the 2600 block of Lynn.
Got it. Welcome. Any other new attendees? Okay. Well, good. So we'll go through, I don't know about the screen sharing, Tim, if you want to, if you can, did you get Bill's report on the garden? Tim, you're muted, by the way. I can't hear you.
If I can let me play with this and I'll figure out how to.
All right, so if you can figure it out, put Bill's report up and put the Zoom, the meeting agenda up so people can see it. If not, it's no big deal. We can tell people what's going on.
Okay.
Good. Okay, so we're going to start off with our approval of last month's or 2 months ago minutes, which are great minutes, and I think we should definitely approve them. I don't know where they are at this point because our secretary unfortunately had to move away and resign. So at our last meeting, somebody took some minutes. I don't know if they got posted though, did they? Catherine, do you remember getting minutes?
Yes, they're on the website.
They're on the website. Great. Do we have a motion to approve those wonderful minutes that are on the website? Yes, Marion, thank you. And yeah, all in favor, just wave your hand and we're good to do that. Okay, thank you. Minutes are approved. So I don't see Officer Jasmine here tonight. Do you all see her anywhere on your screen? She would usually do the police report and we would get her in and out so she could get on with her life. But if she shows up, we'll put her on, okay? I didn't get a message that she was not coming, so maybe something happened, but we'll wait to see what happens with that. So why don't we let Dan, our alderman, take off and give us an update on what's been going on in the city and the neighborhood from his point of view.
Thanks, Don, and happy holidays to everyone, and happy 2021. We made it. We made it through what was 2020. I did speak with Officer Garrett and our new captain, Captain Marisi, earlier today. They both had some prior engagements, but Captain Marisi said that he will be able to attend the February meeting. So just kind of for an introduction and kind of let everyone know some of the things that we're working on in the 9th Ward and in the 3rd District. So tune back in February to meet our new captain. Mm-hmm. So I guess we'll start with where we're almost about a year of COVID updates. Every month I start with what's going on with COVID in the city because we have weekly phone calls with the mayor and Dr. Eccles. We had that phone call earlier today. We seem to, in the city, we seem to have kind of gotten over our Thanksgiving spike. Our numbers have been going down, but we've also been having some delays in testing and some delays in reporting because of the Christmas and New Year's holiday. So we are hoping that our numbers don't dramatically go up. But I think everyone should have seen what happened after Thanksgiving. and hopefully decided to stay at home and not travel over the Christmas holiday. So, but we are at, we're over 300 deaths in the city now. And this is something that we need to continue to let our neighbors know and our residents know that the city is doing better than some of our surrounding counties because we believed in masks, we believed in science, we social distanced early in this pandemic. So please continue to do that. We have been reporting for the last few months kind of some of the things that are going on with utility assistance and rental mortgage from the city. We are hoping that the federal kind of CARES Light Act, the second round of funding that just got passed, we are hoping that there will be some more grants available as well as some more utility assistance available. I urge everyone on the call that has not heard this before to please check out our neighborhood associations. Catherine is doing great at passing along the Spire utility assistance, some of the mortgage relief information, the information as I get it. We are doing well at posting it, so please follow that. I also though wanted to mention I talk every month about Guardian Angel Settlement Association that is at 3300 South Jefferson. If you or your neighbors or anyone you know needs assistance, whether it's housing supplies, food, utility assistance, mortgage assistance, anything like that, Guardian Angel is kind of a one-stop shop. So stop by there if they're open, or make an appointment and tell your neighbors that that is right here in our neighborhood. That is really kind of leading some of our COVID relief that we've had for the last year. I also want to mention, I know some people in the neighborhood have donated in the past to the ARJ Community Foundation. We were able to, with some donations from neighbors and friends, we were able to service over 1,500 kids with toys through the Toys for Tots program that we run. ARJ, which is originally in Benton Park West, but we're moving permanently down to the Melvin Theater on Chippewa, 2920 Chippewa. Thanks to our Benton Park neighbor and wonderful friend, David Godbout. We are going to be doing most of our weekly food drives, the school assistance food for anyone that has kids in the public school system can get free food every week. Every Thursday at 3 o'clock, come to Melvin. And so those are some of the things we're going to continue with the help of our neighbor, David Godbout, to continue through the year. So please let your neighbors know about that as well if they have kids that are in public schools and get food assistance. So I guess I'll leave that for COVID. Today was a long day at the Board of Aldermen, like most days. Today we had over a 4-hour debate on Board Bill 200, which is the Persistent Surveillance Bill, also known as spy planes. Even after 4.5 hours of some pretty strong debate and some pretty strong opposition to flying spy planes over us, it still passed out of the Public Safety Committee today. So now we have a few weeks before this bill, has until it finally passes out of the board. So if you have strong opinions about spy planes, please email some of the other members of the Board of Aldermen or call them and let them know your opinions. I will post information to my personal Facebook page about some of the issues the ACLU has, as well as some of the issues that we brought today. The public safety hearing itself is online that anyone can watch. But as it stands today, there is a persistent surveillance program that seems to have a lot of support in the Board of Aldermen, not mine. So that's one of the big things that happened today. I'll say also, we've been having a lot over the holidays, and there's been a few stories in the news about refuse. Everyone knows that all of our departments have been hit hard by COVID, where we have entire shifts of police or refuse or forestry that have to get quarantined for weeks. So we've been dealing with that as well as the holidays. But our NSO, Bar Potts, and I are through our alleys pretty much daily. If you have a dumpster that is not being taken care of, please reach out to us. Both mine and Barb Potts information are on the agenda that's up in front of us right now. So please call us and we'll make sure that it gets picked up quick. I also want to remind people, because of the holidays, we have more than enough cardboard and recycling going into our dumpsters. And that's a constant problem. So a reminder to everyone that right up at Pestalozzi and Jefferson, right next to our firehouse, we have a row of recycling bins up there. So if you have too much recycling, please take it up to Pestalozzi and Jefferson and help us keep the stuff out of the alley. So that's been a big kind of the holiday emails coming in about refuse. So I just want to point those out. And then I guess I'll end with a couple kind of development neighborhood stuff. For anyone that's been listening for the last 2.5 years at these meetings, I've been working with the sales community corporation to try to get a affordable senior housing at the corner of Jefferson and Arsenal. We did not get the funding last year, so we made some improvements to the plan and applied this year. But unfortunately, as of 2 weeks ago, we did not get funding again. So I'm meeting with the sales next week to kind of see what our next plans are. But I guess I quickly want to thank everyone in the neighborhood that has helped to draft letters of support, who has spoken up, written letters in support of affordable senior housing in our neighborhood. And what I thought was actually a pretty good looking new construction for that corner. So we will continue to work on that. I also want to mention I am still working with a group called the Flyover Fund. We are hoping to put 40 apartment buildings at the corner of Jefferson and Lynch. This is still a project that we're still working on. I've had a lot of questions if whether this is still going, but we are still working on it. And builders have assured me that this is one of their primary projects that they want to see. It's the Jefferson and Lynch apartments. So, and then I guess I will end with, I think Tim might talk about this for building review, but just give everyone a heads up. Our wonderful neighbor up at Arsenal and Lemp, Joel of the Joel's BP, is going to be applying for a extended liquor license for high-end liquor, no small bottles. But I've taken the position, the neighborhood group have agreed to work with Joel to support that project. But if anyone has questions or comments or wants to reach out to me, again, my email and cell phone number are on the sheet in front of you. So, but that will be coming up probably before our next meeting. So, all right, I'll end with that.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Don.
Liz, are you ready to do a treasurer's report?
You have the copy of the income statement?
I don't think it got put up. I'll send it to Tim and he can put it up right now, or I'll put it in the chat.
Let me see if I can pull it up. No, I'm unable to pull it up. I have to be a host.
Do you need to have people see it, or can I just put it into the chat?
You can put it in the chat, that's fine.
Okay, I'll do that while you're talking.
Or, I mean, if you can share it, that would be ideal, but chat's fine.
Okay, take it away. I'll do that while you're talking.
All right, so of course, when we developed the budget in the beginning of 2020, we had no idea how 2020 would unfold. So as you'll see in the income statement and the 2021 budget coming next month, 2020 was wildly different than what we expected from a financial perspective. So we raised just over 3,000 in COVID donations from residents and corporate donors in 2020. So we did not, of course, expect to solicit donations for COVID aid. So that was amazing. Membership income was consistent with 2019, and sponsorship income was way down. But so were event expenses, because we only had 3 events last year, and they were all in November. So we've spent 2,200 on COVID aid so far, and we are now in the process of donating a small amount to a few food banks in the area. And just a reminder, we still have COVID funds. So if you or anyone you know needs grocery assistance, go to the Benton Park website and you can apply for assistance that way. We are also in the process of working with insurance companies, specifically to lower our insurance premiums, given that we don't have as many events planned in 2021. So hopefully that should cut our expenses a bit moving into this year. So all of it shakes out to a net loss of 1,400 in 2020, which all things considered isn't that bad. And it's also consistent with 2019. So you can take a look. Our combined bank balances are 61,000 in savings and 14,000 and some change in checking. So let us know if you have any questions. The board is working on our 2021 budget, which we'll show you next month, and solicit feedback. And then once the budget is finalized, the 2020 income statement along with the 2021 budget are to be posted on the website. So unless there's any comments or questions right now, I'll pass it on to Catherine to speak about COVID aid.
Sure. Thanks, Liz. Not a ton to report. Our requests have slowed down significantly. I don't think we've had any requests since mid-October. So we'll probably flyer again here in January, but the link is on, like Liz said, on the website and social media. Feel free to share it with neighbors or pass the word along. There's also a phone number for folks who may not have internet access. They can leave a voicemail and we will hook them up with delivery or Schnucks gift cards.
And again, the board did commit to spending all of that 3,000 we raised in COVID donations for food assistance. So we do have 800 left in that account to donate or to provide assistance in the form of gift cards.
Well, good. That's it, Catherine. Okay. So why don't we move on and hear about the building review committee, Tim? You're still muted, Tim. Tim, you need to unmute yourself. You're still muted.
There we go.
Okay, good. We can hear you now.
Oh. So in spite of the COVID and a lot of things that aren't happening, we have had several requests for help in the lines of some development projects as well as some zoning considerations. So one of the, or a couple of things that we've provided letters for recently include Blue City Deli and Mellows Pizzeria to construct a awning cover over their patio area. So that's between the Mellows and the backside of Blue City Deli. And so we worked through several design considerations with that. And Vince was working with Kylene Studio, and they together came up with just a brilliant solution, and it was approved by the Preservation Board last week. So that was a good outcome on that. And then we're also provided a zoning letter of support for Epiphany Church, who was interested in utilizing some of their underused space at the church and fellowship hall to support two different business incubators. So it was a rather unusual request, but consistent in keeping with any of these business or gathering uses at any of the properties in Benton Park. We try to put a little parameters on that approval, so that there's conditions that are part of the zoning ordinance for that property. So that's been good. And then we're working with two other owners, or I guess actually one other, who has property on Lemp as well as some income property over on Jefferson, working through some details on zoning and on building improvement on that. So the committee has been staying busy. And my plug for the new year would be, if we do have anyone interested in helping us, over the past 2 years, we've had probably more leaning towards building review, things of a historic nature. Although, in December, we had 2 zoning requests that we responded to. So it just kind of is, depends what's going on. So, but we're very open to having new members join. And if it's something that you're interested, I do have a advisory level of the committee. So if folks can't really commit to joining us on a monthly basis, but you would like to see the emails and be made aware, we can set you up as an advisor. So Don, that's about all I have, unless there's any questions.
Thanks, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have some new construction going on the corner of Lynch and McNair.
Mm-hmm.
A couple buildings going up there that have been approved and are good. So thank you for the good work. Dan, do you want to tell us anything about parks? Are you still there, Dan? And let's remind the people that Dan's been working on this Benton Park for almost as long as it's been a park instead of a graveyard, I think. And
Not quite.
maybe not
Feels
quite,
like it.
but it feels like it. And I was helping him the other day. He got some volunteers with mulch, and I was looking at all the trees, and I thought, these trees really need to be pruned, the big trees, the big old trees. And we were talking about all that. So at some point tonight, just wondered if people had any connections or ideas or ways that we could do fundraisers, or if somebody knew tree people, or, just to talk to Dan about that, because that's something we can't do as regular people and volunteers. So I just wanted to put that out there for Dan, because we started to talk about that.
Yeah, so I guess if we're on parks, if we're gonna start with that, so on the large trees, we used to have. There was a time where we had, you know, $10,000 to $15,000 budgets through the neighborhood association to where we would plant trees and be able to do kind of large projects. Obviously, the last few years, we haven't been doing the same fundraising that we did for a number of years to be able to budget those things. But we could do some sort of neighborhood-wide raising money to pay for a private arborist to do some of the large stuff. However, one of the things when we put all the new trees in, and we put probably over 500 new trees throughout the ward, probably a good 150 in Benton Park alone, but also Cherokee Park, you'll see a lot there, Fremont Park. So when we put these trees in, we had a partnership with a group called Forest Relief, and we created a thing called Tree LC. So TREELC, Tree LC, that we will actually have the city forestry and Forest Relief train neighbors on how to prune the small trees so that we maintain them before they get large and cost a lot of money to prune. So I encourage anyone that has interest in parks and our parks to check out Forest Relief and Tree LC on Facebook. And this spring, we'll be having another planting and training session in Benton Park of how you as a neighbor can help maintain your street trees, park trees, and you can be certified through the city forestry. So it's pretty cool. So that's one big park thing. The other big park thing, I get a lot of calls about our fountains. MSD in the parks last winter decided that the winter when it freezes, they have to take those fountains out. So they're underneath the bridge now, but we lost 2 last year from freezing and freezing motors and stuff. So they're out for the winter. They'll be back in the spring. They're supposed to be keeping the overflow water running just to keep it circulating. But the fountains will be back in the spring. It'll be a spring through fall thing because they burn up too quick. So, and then I think the final thing I will say about parks is we've had, we have a couple neighbors that decorated the Golden Ball Bridge, which I will keep them anonymous. They put not only were the people that painted the balls golden, but they also put wreaths and garland on it this year, which was beautiful. And then we still have a lot of 2020 was a year that I was only able to get 3 volunteer groups when normally I have 2 or 3 a month to help maintain. So we still have a lot of work to do this winter. So if you would like to help maintain our parks, please, again, email me or call me. And usually on Saturdays, we'll go out and try to prune gardens or clean up trash or whatever. But we still need people to volunteer for the Parks Committee. So any questions about parks? All right, thanks.
Okay, good, excellent. So still in keeping with nature and outdoors, Bill Kranz has been busy with his fellow diggers and cave explorers. And I posted, he's going to tell us all the latest stuff. I posted his PDF on the chat. And if, I don't know, Tim, if you want to try and bring it up, but people can just click on it on the chat and it'll come up on your own computer so you can look at it if you'd like. That might be simpler. But tell us what's been going on, Bill.
Okay, thank you, Don, and good evening, everybody. We had a very successful year because a lot of people were at home due to the COVID pandemic. And we had a bunch of new people come to the garden looking for something to do, basically. So we had 17 gardeners this last year, and that's a record number. So that we just had a real successful year in terms of participation from the neighborhood. We have a $500 budget, but we've been keeping that set aside until we can figure out a way to do our own arborist work in the garden. We have 2 different trees that need some attention that volunteers cannot do. So we're hoping to use that $500 from last year and maybe some from this year to get some of that tree work done ourselves.
Nice. I see
So-
Tim just put up the presentation on the shared screen, so they'll be able to see it when you go through it, Bill.
Okay, thank you. And
Continue.
as I was saying, we had 17 people involved, and we hope a lot of them come back for this next season, which is on its way already. Now, in terms of the cave, we've been delayed because of the COVID in 2020, but hopefully in the fall of this year here, we're going to be developing some kind of access to the cave. Exactly what that will be, I'm not totally sure about that yet, but we are working on several ideas to reopen the cave the best we can. So there's information in the PDF about it, and just welcome you to look through that, and you can email me later on about any questions about that particular project. And look through the photos we have on there, and just let me know whether anybody has any questions, and I appreciate your time tonight.
Well, good. I didn't write it on the agenda, but we have our events committee report for sure, and our media and the work that Catherine's been doing on keeping the website up and marketing and all that. So let's, Brittany, you want to tell us anything about the non-event? But there was a big event that people probably need to know about.
So we weren't able to do our usual summer concert series, as you know, but we did get the 2 concerts in, and we had a visit from Santa that came by the weekend before Christmas, and we did a drive-through with him all through the neighborhood. So hopefully all of you guys got to catch that. It was pretty exciting and really cool to see everyone coming out and enjoying a socially distanced holiday celebration. So we were really happy and that we were able to make that happen this year, since we weren't able to have our usual holiday party. So we're hoping 2021 will be a better season for us to get some more concerts and stuff like that. So stay tuned on plans for the spring and summer events coming up. But.
Good. Catherine, Catherine's been doing just a wonderful job upgrading our website and putting up timely notices about things and all this great work. She's a very busy person and is going to need to move away from being the full-time responsible person for this stuff. So we are looking for someone with some skills on web management. It's been developed. It doesn't need someone who's a coder, but it needs someone who understands how to move information up and down and some technological sophistication. So if anybody who's on here, or if you know anybody that you think would like to get involved and help us, we really do need that. So she'll tell you about that and any other items that we have from you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the site is built on Squarespace. Really, I'm looking for help with the whole gamut of marketing. So social media, web, newsletters, all that. I will put my email in the chat. It's just marketing@bentonpark.org. I can make sure you have everything you need and get you hooked up. So send me an email and we'll figure it out.
Good. Yeah, not all at once. Come on, whoever wants to do that can let us know soon. So the dog park is somewhat dormant during this time of year. I don't think Nicole had anything big to tell us about, or Barbara. Is anybody from the dog park on? I don't see, but it's nothing super going on there. So we've gone through all of our usual committee reports. Did I forget anybody or anything else that needed to be reported on?
Hey, Don, this is Kay. I'll just report on the dog park since no one else is here.
Thank you.
We've got half of it divided off for the reseeding. And the landscapers told us that probably we want to keep that part that was already reseeded closed until the spring. So the plan is to open that back up in the spring and then reseed the other side in the spring and hopefully only keep the other side closed for like a month or something. But we have had a couple of questions from people as to that, as to like when the second side is going to be opened back up. And based on the landscaper's recommendation, they don't want dogs trampling it right now when it's not fully grown in. And because the winter months are less crowded and things, we're going to just go ahead and keep it closed. So thanks to everyone for their cooperation and working with us on that.
Good. Thank you. I'm sorry, I've got our grand dog is visiting us. If you hear the barking, I'm trying to keep myself muted when I don't need to talk. But I do want to just mention new business then. 'Tis the election season, as we all know, and a couple of things that you all need to know about. First of all, our Alderman Dan Gunther is up for re-election, and he might like to tell you anything relevant to that process, but just if you need to talk to Dan about things you're concerned about and any things that he's representing us on, you know where to get him. So there's Dan. Anything you need to add to that, Dan?
No, thanks, Don. Just, yeah, it's election season again. Let's hope for a win in Georgia. And my phone number and email is up there. I would love to hear from you. Thank you.
Good. Okay, so the other thing we have to talk about regarding elections is that I've been contacted by 4 of the people running for, well, 3 running for mayor and the comptroller, Darlene Green. So Tashara Jones, Andrew Jones, Kara Spencer have all asked if they could have some time to present themselves to our neighbors on this kind of a meeting. And I'm assuming that people would like to have a few minutes to just connect with the candidates who are running. It will be, I'll put it on the February meeting. We will have our own election that will need to be done for our slate of candidates that we'll be presenting in November for the board. In February. So February will be a kind of a political-ish meeting. And I'm gonna give them all a small amount of time to come on the Zoom call and say hello to you all. Any other thoughts or feedback about that? All righty, well, that's good. That is it for the information that I have. Are there any other new business items that anybody wants to bring up? Or old things that need to be talked about again? All right.
I have
That's-
something actually, if that's okay.
By all means.
So I'm Heather. I'm not new to the neighborhood. I've been here 23 years, but new to this gathering. And I want to be respectful of the history of the organization, which I don't know that much about, but I have a concern I wanted to raise and see how the best way to move forward. So I, again, have been here a long time, and I have to say, I think this is probably the most unsafe I've felt in this neighborhood ever. And I'm extremely concerned about where we are as a city, very interested in hearing from our mayoral candidates. But I'm really interested in starting a dialogue about what we can do as neighbors, how we can connect better, both to know each other, but also to improve the safety of our neighborhood. So I don't know if that's a conversation that other people are interested in, but I wanted to raise it and see what you thought.
Thank you. Yeah, at our last meeting, Barbara Vindiola had brought up the very same concerns. And so we are in the process of reviving and populating our safety committee. So I think you've just volunteered yourself. And how about if you send me a message and I'll put you in touch with Barbara, can fill you in on what the current thinking is. Also, our police representative wasn't able to be on tonight, and she obviously would be part of that group and that dialogue, as well as Barbara Potts, who's our neighborhood stabilization officer. And Dan is always involved in these things too. So we have a core of people that share the concern and need to find some ways that we all take care of ourselves, which I agree with. So if other people want to chime in on this or join up with this effort, which ranges from things like street lights, porch lights, neighborhood watches, block captains, a lot of things that have been done in the past or done in other neighborhoods, and people would like to try them out. We're going to have a dialogue about what of those would be good for us. So yes, a good important point. Anybody else on that one? All right, Heather, just send me a message and I'll connect you up with Barbara, okay? Thank you. All right, folks, we're going to get you off within an hour, not even 45 minutes. Next time, we'll have a little long-winded political speeches. No, not really, but some people will talk to us, and I'll post who's going to be on, and I'll invite basically everybody who is relevant, okay?
And Don, do you expect that we'll have a Q&A session with the candidates?
Well, so the problem is that there are a lot of candidates, and what the general thought is to give everybody like 3 minutes and not have a Q&A, because otherwise it literally will take up the entire meeting. You know how those things will go. So I'm not sure. I mean, normally we would tell candidates to hang out outside the meeting and we would meet and greet afterwards. I don't know if we can figure out a technology for doing that on this. Maybe we'll think about that. There might be a business meeting for X amount of time, and then we'll load the candidates all into, I'm just thinking off the top of my head now, if that works out, and they can all have questions and have more time, and whoever wants to stay for that can stay for that. Maybe
I think
that'll
discussing, and if not, perhaps BPNAers can submit questions to us as a board, which we can send to the candidates to address during that session.
That's a great idea. Yeah, that takes some of the time away from, we can give them the questions ahead. All right, so we'll think about that, and we'll post some updates on the website about what we're doing so you all can see it. If you have any thoughts, let us know, okay? Good. Well, I'm going to sign off unless anybody else has anything important. I see I got a bunch of chats here. If there's anything, okay, good. I got all the chats. I don't think we have to deal with anything there. So hasta la vista, neighbors, and we'll see you soon, all right?
Thanks, Don. Thanks, Tim.
Okay, thanks for hosting, Tim. You can sign us all out.